Conference of Parties COP21 held from 30th November to 12th December 2015 at Paris under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Sir, the 21st Conference of Parties under UNFCCC was held in Paris from 30th November to 12th December 2015. The COP adopted a new Paris Agreement under the UNFCCC, which would be open for signing by the parties between 22nd April 2016 to 21st April 2017. It concluded the work of ad hoc working group on Durban Platform for Advanced Action set up in 2011. In order to implement the decision adopted, a new ad hoc working group on Paris Agreement has been set up. I had the honor to lead an interministerial delegation that participated in the Paris Conference. India engaged in the negotiations with a positive outlook and a constructive spirit. I am thankful to the Honorable Prime Minister for guiding our efforts and attending the Leaders Summit held on opening day of the conference on 30th November 2015. His statement, including an emphasis on climate justice, common but differentiated responsibilities, renewable energy, was referred to by many leaders, including the French President, Mr. Hollande, during the conference. The outcome of this conference represents a forward march for the global community in the fight against climate change involving all countries. It brought out the success of multilateralism, which involves a spirit of accommodation by all parties to ensure the best possible outcome for the entire planet and the human civilization. Our approach during the negotiation was guided by the cabinet mandate, the national consensus, and a long-term interest of India for developing pace and growth to provide basic services and energy access to all our citizens and eradication of poverty, balanced with the need for combating climate change. India advocated a strong, durable climate agreement based on the principles and provisions of the convention. India has been a strong advocate of the principle of differentiation and operationalization of common but differentiated responsibilities in the climate change regime to prevent any further dilution of the principle that has taken place hitherto. I am pleased to inform the House that India has been to secure its interests and the developing countries in this agreement. The Paris Agreement meets our broad expectations. Some of the main highlights of the agreement are: the agreement explicitly recognizes in the preamble the imperative of climate justice and sustainable lifestyle as manifested of patterns of consumption and production, with developed countries taking the lead. These issues were raised by Honorable PM during his address at COP21 and other international fora. The preamble also recognizes the specific needs and special circumstances of the developing country parties, which are vulnerable to effects of climate change as provided under the convention. The purpose of the agreement notes that the agreement is to enhance the implementation of the convention. This was a key demand of India, so that the agreement remains under the convention and does not create a completely new regime. The agreement also explicitly recognizes that the principles of equity and CBDR in the respective capacities in the light of different national circumstances will be respected. This is mentioned both in preamble as well as in the purpose of the agreement. India has always highlighted the urgent need of adaptation to deal with the impact of climate change. I am happy to state that the agreement is not mitigation-centric and includes adaptation, finance, technology, capacity building, and equal pillars. The agreement seeks to contain the increase in the global average temperature to well below 2 degrees pre-industrial level and to further make efforts to limit it to 1.5 degrees. In order to achieve the long-term temperature goals, the Paris Agreement seeks to aim at global peaking of emission by second half of the century. While recognizing the time frame for peaking will be longer for developing countries, it also mandates that global peaking of emissions shall be on the basis of equity and in the context of sustainable development and efforts to eradicate poverty. This ensures policy and development space for us. The country-driven nature of the contributions has been preserved, as was strongly advocated by India. Parties' contributions are defined as nationally determined contributions, and a top-down approach of apportioning mitigation ambition has been avoided. A 5-year communication cycle for nationally determined contributions has been agreed to. This will apply to post-2030 as we have submitted 10-year INDC. We may only have to reconfirm our INDC for 25 to 30. There is no mandatory ratchet up mechanism for parties to raise their mitigation ambition. This will continue to be nationally determined. However, parties would be free to raise their ambitions voluntarily any time. 9. The agreement maintains differentiation in mitigation action of developed and developing countries. It mandates that developed countries should continue to take the lead and undertake absolute targets, while developing countries should continue to enhance their mitigation efforts and are encouraged to move over time towards absolute targets. A global stocktake will take place every 5 years to assess the progress in addressing climate change. This global stocktake will cover mitigation, adaptation, means of implementation, and will thus be comprehensive as demanded by us. 11. The new market mechanism to provide opportunities for voluntary cooperation in the implementation of nationally determined contribution using international transfer of mitigation outcomes has been adopted. Implementation of REDD Plus mechanism has also been anchored in the agreement. 12. The global goal has been established to increase the adaptive capacity. Adaptation has been accorded equal importance to mitigation as demanded by developing countries. International support is to be provided by the developed countries for adaptation action. 13. Agreement clearly recognizes the need for support to developing parties for effective implementation of their mitigation and adaptation action. Agreement mandates an obligation for developed countries to provide financial resources to developing countries. Other parties may also contribute, but on a voluntary basis, which will not dilute the obligation of developed countries. The accompanying decisions also lays down that $100 billion mobilization funds per year by developed countries will be scaled up after 2020 and before 2025, taking into account the needs and priorities of developing countries. An enhanced system for transparency has been provided in agreement. This will cover not only mitigation and adaptation action, but also the support provided by developing countries. The enhanced transparency system will build on existing system under the convention and provide flexibility to developing countries. In addition, a separate capacity building initiative for transparency to help developed countries has been agreed in order to build institutional and technical capacity. A new technology framework has been established. Collaborative approaches to research and development and facilitating access to technology and financial support for technology mechanism have been provided for. A new Paris committee will work out the modalities of enhancing capacity building activities in developing countries under the agreement. Developed countries are to provide financial support for capacity building of developing countries. 18. Loss and damage has also been accorded a prime place in the agreement. This will help our coastal area and vulnerable islands. 19. Pre-2020 actions are also part of the decisions. The developed country parties were urged to scale up their level of financial support with complete roadmap to achieve the goal of jointly providing $100 billion by 2020 for mitigation and adaptation by significantly increasing adaptation finance from current levels and to further provide appropriate technology and capacity building support. It was also decided to identify ways to enhance the ambition of mitigation efforts by all parties, including identifying opportunities to enhance the provision and mobilization of support and enabling environment. The conference also dictates the launch of historic international solar alliance conceived by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He launched this alliance on 30th November 2015 along with Honorable President of France, Mr. Hollande, representatives of more than 70 countries and around 500 high-level representatives from industry, governments and international organizations attended the launch ceremony. This path-breaking alliance will provide an unprecedented boost to solar energy development and deployment of meeting the energy needs in a clean, affordable and sustainable manner. Many countries have expressed their interest in joining the alliance. The French President co-authored a book of quotes with our Prime Minister, which was also released at the high-level event. A mission innovation was also launched to promote collaborative research and development and double the investment in research in clean energy technology, which was attended by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with President of USA, Barack Obama, President of France, Holland, and leaders from many other countries. I am happy to report that an India Pavilion was also set up in the venue by the government, which highlighted the initiatives taken by various ministries, state governments, missions under the National Action Plan of Climate Change, industries, civil societies, NGOs, etc. The multifaceted activity on climate change in India were successfully depicted in our pavilion of over 25 events and drew more than 6,000 visitors. The PM inaugurated the Indian Pavilion and released Parampara, a book on India's culture of climate-friendly sustainable practices. Throughout the course of the negotiation, India engaged constructively in good faith. India was also part of several groupings of developing countries, including BASIC, LMDCs, and of course G77 plus China, which fought for the cause of developing countries. 19 bilateral meetings were held with number of countries, including Mozambique, Marshall Islands, Mauritius, Vanuatu, Singapore, Sudan, Japan, USA, UK, France, and Germany. India wanted an ambitious and durable agreement based on principle of equity and CBDI that recognizes the need for greater action by developed countries based on their historical responsibility and economic status. We did not want any constraints on our development and provision of support in terms of finance, technology transfer, and capacity building. The Paris Agreement acknowledges and recognizes the development imperative of India and other developing countries. The agreement supports the right of development and their effort to harmonize development with environment while also protecting the interests of the most vulnerable. We are happy that the agreement was unequivocally acknowledged the imperative of the climate justice and has based itself on the principle of equity and common but differentiated responsibilities. India has consistently said that the path to climate ambition must be paved with equity. I am happy that the agreement has recognized this. We feel vindicated that all our major requirements have been accepted and have become a part of the agreement. Thank you.
Now, honorable members, this is a very important statement. This is a very important statement. If clarification is not now, a time and date for clarification will be intimated. There will be opportunity for clarification. Time and date will be intimated. If the members can go back, we can have now. Otherwise,